So I'm going to be live reacting to the WBIT section show. There's a live section show on NCAA.com, and you know why there is? Because it's affiliated affiliate tournament through the NCAA. Yeah, and that's why it's on it. The WNIT is a separate tournament by Triple Crown Sports. It's like the WNBIT tournament. They're not like affiliated through It's an NCAA tournament. But the NCAA Division 1 team is not affiliated through the NCAA itself. And we have and what they do is it's like the old men's AT, where they had all the number 1 seeds in the conference tournaments, like the regular season conference champions. For all these schools, they didn't. For all these conferences, no one did. You Albany, you have UTSA, you are the other ready. UTSA 11 in America, way up Big West. You have NCNT, the Coastal Athletic Association. You have James Madison on the Sun, but you have Southeastern, you have Southland, you have UNLV on the Northwest, you have James Madison on the Sun, but you have Gonzaga on the West Coast Conference, you have Drake on the Missouri Valley. Those teams are in it, and then you have what they do now is they do it differently. They have the first 4 out, so the first 4 teams to be left out of the NCAA women's tournament got 1 seeds in the WBIT. And the Minnesota Gophers didn't make it to the NCAA tournament. And they were like next four kind of line for Jerry Jones bracketology. So we'll see, because they lost if they split 1-1 with lost maybe Washington in the regular season, they'd beat them in the conference tournament. That would add more to it, maybe the conference tournament. But when they split, they might be surround the bubble like last team in. Maybe. But no. They're not. So we'll see if they make it back. I don't know what watching this. I don't know if I did a video last year, but I know I watched it though. At least myself last year, so. Even though I knew they were going to be in the WNIT. But Joyce, I hope maybe they can get the WBIT bubble. But they might have been, because they got a first round by top 16 teams in the WBNIT. Got a first round. I know that's 40 teams. So, yeah. And the reason it's at 40 is because the WBIT takes away 32 teams. It's 32 teams. So they shrunk it by 16. So they have only 16 more teams. So 16 more teams to make it to an NCAA women's basketball postseason tournament. So, thank you, Sherry.
It's time to run it back. It's time to show out. It's time to work. Buckle up and settle in. To win it all, you gotta be your best. 32 teams will suit up, but only 4 will make it to the historic Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indy. Bring your crew and represent. The season continues and a championship is on the line. Will you get to raise the trophy? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 WBIT Selection Show. I'm Kelsey Casper, your host for this evening, as tonight we will unveil the 32 teams who will continue their postseason journeys. This year's field will feature a 32-team bracket. The first 4 teams left out of the Division I basketball tournament will receive an automatic bid and be the first 4 seeds in the WBIT tournament. Also, regular season champions of D1 conferences will also automatically qualify. The remaining field will be made up of at-large teams chosen by the selection committee. First round action tips off on Thursday, March 20th, followed by the second round Sunday, March 23rd. Quarterfinals will be the following Thursday on March 27th. All of those games being held at campus sites on ESPN+. The remaining 4 teams will then advance to the semifinal round, taking place at historic Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis on March 31st on ESPNU, with the champion being crowned on Wednesday, April 2nd on ESPNU. Last year was the inaugural WBIT, with Illinois taking the crown, but who will be the last team standing this year? Let's go ahead and start unveiling this year's bracket. Starting in the top left, the number 1 seed is Virginia Tech. In the Hokies' first year under head coach Megan Duffy, Virginia Tech is making a postseason appearance. Representing the ACC, the Hokies enter the WBIT with a record of 18-12 and have 4 players averaging 12 or more.
And they do it to where, like, the top 6, there's 6 as a first round. They don't do it to where 4 teams play on one site and they play 2 days apart. They actually do it to where, they do it to where, like, there's 16 first round games. And then not just eat them or home and away and eat them on a neutral site. Like you'd think, maybe? Like the NCAA tournament? No. They actually do it to where they're on campus sites. They do it to where they either play first. The 1 seed plays the 8 seed in that region, in that quarter of the bracket. And they play at home. So Virginia Tech gets the host, whoever the 8 seed is in that bracket region, in the brackets, in that quarter, and the host, and then they host up to the semis. And the WNIT has the hosts for every game, including the semis and finals. It's campus site for every game of the whole tournament, no matter what. They're like the NVIT national, or NIVT the national, is the invitation tournament. So I know, but it doesn't. I know how to do the campus sites, so that like they can guarantee they have a host site for the games. You know, unless the only way they won't have a host site is if like there was a team. Like that was guaranteed. Wasn't guaranteed. To be in the tournament. Like Minnesota last year, I know they would have been the host site for all the games, because they had the higher seed match, but they had to play Wyoming and Troy on the road, and that was due to because they had some other event at the U event, like at Williams Arena. They were using Williams Arena for that. But this year, but we'll see.
More points, with Carly Wenzel leading the way, averaging 14 points per game and a total of 112 assists on the year. And Virginia Tech, they will host North Carolina A&T. Behind a career-high 27-point performance from Jordan Dorsey, the Aggies secured their first CAA regular season championship, 11th conference title overall, and more to celebrate for the Aggies, as after 13 seasons and 248 wins, Joel Robinson earned his first career conference Coach of the Year award. Up next, the 4 seed, it's Wyoming. It was true heartbreak for the Lady Cowgirls, falling in triple overtime in the Mountain West Championship, but still plenty to be proud of this season for Wyoming. The Cowgirls came away with a big win over UNLV on Senior Day to secure 20 wins for the second time in 3 seasons. They also set a program record for single-season conference wins with 14. And they will host Texas Tech. It had been 22 years since the Lady Raiders had won 2 games at the Big 12 tournament, but this year, Texas Tech did it again by taking down both Kansas and Utah to advance to the quarterfinals and earning the program's 1,000th win. Moving down the left side, we see Florida. The Gators advanced to the SEC quarterfinals for the second year in a row. Lynn McGill earned SEC All-Freshman honors after leading all freshmen in the entire country in assists per game and total assists. and they will welcome Northern Iowa. First victory over a top 10 team in program history when they took down number 8 Iowa State back in November. Kava Laube had the most threes in a game, 10 against Pittsburgh, and broke the career three-point record. Also, Maya McDermott broke the single-season field goal record and ranked second all-time in Northern Iowa history. And the 2 seed in the top left belongs to UNLV. For the 4th straight year, the Lady Rebels secured the regular season Mountain West title. This balanced offense had 5 players scoring in double figures entering the conference tournament, including freshman and 6th player of the year, Meadow Rowland. Also, head coach Lindy LaRock was named Mountain West Coach of the Year for the 3rd time in just her 5th season at the helm. And they will take on Hawaii. The Rainbow Wahine entering the Big West Championship as the regular season champ and number 1 seed for the 2nd straight season and 3rd time in the last 4 years. The Big West regular season title is the 4th in Laura Beeman's 13-year career at UH as head coach. UH started the Big West schedule at 0-2, then ran off 14 consecutive wins in the program's longest win streak since the 2014-2015 season. 8 teams down at 24 to go. Another top seed, it's Colorado.
And I'd be interested to see in that first quadrant how Wyoming match up with Texas Tech. That's interesting, though. That Texas Tech didn't get the 4. Usually the power conference interfere, but I like that, though. I think Texas Tech just happened to sneak in because the selection committee a little higher. Because they, I think it was just because of the fact that, Texas Tech had made 2 straight in the Big 12s. They got their way into the quarters. I think that's, the reason why. And I'd be interested to see if Wyoming versus UNLV, that happened to be a potential quarterfinal. Matchup. Play for the 2nd or 3rd. Not for sure if they played in the regular twice. I can't remember if they played twice the regular season. But still, they're meeting again. That would be an intriguing matchup. Let's see. Because Wyoming did beat them in the last game of their season.
The Buffaloes come into the postseason with 20 wins under their
But that would have to be in a quarterfinal.
belt as they made their return to the Big 12 Conference this season, boasting wins over West Virginia and Kansas State. 10 newcomers in total to this Colorado lineup as they were led by a pair of Big 12 honorable mentions in Foreman and Jade Masagaya. Next up, we see Southeastern Louisiana. 5 consecutive winning seasons under Coach Gazzardo. They've come to the tournament with an overall record of 26-5 and a 19-1 Southland Conference record. Is their best regular season record under Coach Gazzardo, and they ranked among the women's mid-ranger top 25 for 7 consecutive weeks, making their first appearance in program history. The 4 seed, it belongs to Gonzaga. The Bulldogs claimed their 20th WCC regular season title by finishing conference play with a 17-3 record. Gonzaga, they're led by graduate Yvonne Ejim, the 2024 Becky Hammond Player of the Year. She's averaging 20 points per game. And traveling to take on Gonzaga is UTSA. Led by American Athletic Conference unanimous Coach of the Year Karen Aston, the Roadrunners ended the regular season with a program record 26 overall wins. The team also ranked inside the top 25 on the NCAA leaderboard in several categories, including rebound margin, offensive rebound, and win percentage, just to name a few. Cruising down the left side, we welcome the 3 seed in Missouri State. Under the direction of MVC Coach of the Year Beth Cunningham, the Lady Bears secured its 15th MVC regular season championship. The team also went undefeated at home this season for the first time since 2019-2020 season. Missouri State is led offensively by Lacey Stokes, who averages 14 points per game, but also she was named MVC Defensive Player of the Year as she leads the league in steals, just getting it done on both ends of the court for the Lady Bears. and they will have a first-round date with Oral Roberts.
I guess because
Talia
they're state
Jones and
champion
Jalea
anyways, though.
Oglesby were each named to the Summit League All-First Team. Oglesby also won 6th Woman of the Year award for the second straight year. The Golden Eagles reached 24 wins for the first time since 1982-1983 season. Final two teams on the left side features two-seeded Minnesota. The Golden Gophers representing the Big Ten Conference. Minnesota set a program record this season with 12 non-conference wins. This year also marked the first time since the 2017-18 and 2018-19 season that Minnesota recorded back-to-back 20-win seasons. And due to a facility conflict, Minnesota will travel to face our next host in Toledo. The Rockets of Toledo.
So they do have. So they did end up, because they knew they had to travel, so for the NCAA tournament. So there is facility things. And I think that's also that's I know why this time. It's because of then they had the girls state high school tournament at Williams Arena, like certain games, like the semis and finals, and at Williams Arena, or like their volleyball arena. I can't think of their volleyball arena name off the top of my head right now. Missouri Pavilion. There you go. So they have that, and the other like colleges around there, or schools, like St. Thomas or something maybe. So then they have the boys' high school tournament this week for 1, 2, 3, and 4. A as they call it. So for basketball. So yeah. So that's why Minnesota can't host this week, because of that. They have the games at certain games at Williams Arena. But in the second round, they'll be able to host the second round matchup and the quarterfinals on Sunday. They should be able to 23rd. Should be able to host the quarters or the second round. The second round 6 to 16 teams. They make it, and then the round of 8, the quarters. They should. So.
Toledo wrapped up their regular season winning 10 of their final 12 games and then went on to advance to the MAC championship game. It's the 4th straight season Toledo has eclipsed 20 victories. Nan Garcia highlighted the postseason awards for this squad, taking home MAC 6th Player of the Year. We are officially halfway.
Honestly, that doesn't surprise me that they're 2 seed, because that just some of these teams, their first 4 out. Like these at-larges, like James Madison losing, like UNLV losing. Put them in the first 4 out.
Halfway through this year's WBIT bracket as we jump over.
And they were in the prediction as first 4 out for Charlie Cream. But they're not the first 4 out because they're not 1 seed, but still. Like I thought they would be 2, and they are.
To the top right side, where James Madison is our next 1 seed. James Madison finished 28-5 and won 20 games in a row, including going unbeaten 18-0 in conference play during the regular season. 3 of James Madison's 5 losses are to teams ranked in the top 10 in the country. James Madison has made the Sun Belt Tournament Finals in each of the last 3 years and has been the regular season champ in 2 of the last 3 years. And James Madison, they're going to be hosting Davidson in the first round. The Wildcats concluded their regular season winning 8 of their last 9 games and ended the year with a program best 13-5 in A10 play. They enter the WBIT with a 19-13 overall record. Moving along, we say hello to our next 4 seed in Drake. Despite a career-high 45-point performance from Katie Dinnebier, the Bulldogs just couldn't get past Murray State in the MVC tournament. However, their season is still alive as they enter the WBIT with a 22-11 record. Dinnebier was named back-to-back MVC Jackie Styles Player of the Year. She leads the league in scoring with 22 points per game and had over 10 30-plus performances on the year. and Drake, they will welcome Marquette to town. Marquette reached 20 wins for the 5th straight year and 7th time in the last 8 seasons. The Golden Eagles finished 3rd in the Big East with a 12-6 conference record after being picked 10th in the preseason coaches poll. Marquette was 13-2 at home, the 5th time in the last 6 seasons MU won 13 or more games at the L. McGuire Center. Up next, we say hello to Belmont. The number 3 seed, Belmont has posted a top 3 conference finish in 13 of the last 14 seasons, including each of the last 10 seasons. The Bruins are one of only 8 programs in the nation to have won 20 games for 10 straight seasons. The Bruins advance to the MVC title game this afternoon. And we get to see an in-state first-round matchup because Middle Tennessee won't have to travel far. The Blue Raider season is still alive. Middle Tennessee entered its 3rd consecutive Conference USA regular season title. The Blue Raider offense is led by first-team selection Tamia Scott, averaging 16 points per game, but it's really the defense.
So because they split the regular season title, I don't know if they split the guy. I guess they do, but Middle Tennessee is probably worthy of
Set this team prides himself on as they hold their opponents to an average just 51 points per game. And in their conference quarterfinal win, they held Kennesaw State scoreless in the 2nd quarter. Just the 2nd time this season a D1 team has done that. Our next 2 teams round out the top right section of the bracket. Earning the 2 seed is Arizona. This year marks 7 straight seasons with 18 or more wins for this Wildcat program, and the first time ever Arizona played in the Big 12 tournament. This young but gritty Wildcat defense ranks 2nd in the conference, 43rd in the nation in steals per game, and also 3rd in the Big 12 in turnovers forced per game. And we get to see another in-state matchup as they will go head-to-head against Northern Arizona. Another successful year for the Lumberjacks, who set a regular season wins record with 25 victories and notched their best conference record in program history. As a team, Northern Arizona ranks 8th nationally in rebounds per game with 42 and ranks 13th in the country in scoring offense, putting up on average 80 points per contest. 8 more teams remain.
And I'd also be interested to see like maybe, I mean, I like the conference matchup, but I like also these matchups that they play in these tournaments. Like they play teams that they don't normally schedule each other. You know, like Drake and Marquette, or like teams that like might not schedule each other normally. And I'm also interested to see maybe James Madison Drake 2 good mid-majors, or Belmont Tennessee's 2 good mid-majors. So if Northern Arizona 2 good mid-majors in balance, I like that.
Deersfield. Our final top seed goes to St. Joseph's. The Hawks advanced to the Atlantic 10 championship game for the first time since 2018 after taking down top-seeded Richmond on a buzzer beater. The Hawks are led by Laura Ziegler, who scored 10-plus points in 28 of 31 games this season and ranks 2nd all-time in program history with 39 career double-doubles. And the Hawks?
What?
They will host Albany in the first round. It was a heartbreaking finish for the Great Danes in the American East Championship game, but still a successful season for Albany. The Great Danes started off to their best 10-game start in Division I history and went undefeated during the month of November. Kayla Cooper was named American East Player of the Year and leads the team in points per game, rebounds per game, assists, and steals. Moving along, earning the 4th seed and representing the Big East is Villanova. The Wildcats season is still alive. Also the runner-ups from last year's WBIT. But this year, Villanova was led by freshman Jasmine Basco, who averages 16 points per game. She joins Maddie Segrist as the only Villanova freshman in program history to earn all Big East honors. And they will play host to Boston College. The Eagles earned their 3rd straight opening round win in the ACC tournament with a comeback win over Syracuse. This Boston College offense is led by the duo of Tiana Todd and Dontavia Wagner, both averaging 13 points per game. The last 4 teams. Another Big East school earning the 3 seed is Seton Hall. The Pirates closed out the regular season with a 21-8 overall record and 13-5 mark in Big East play. They closed out the regular season with a road win against Xavier, marking their 7th conference road win of the season, their most since the 2014-15 season. And they will welcome Quinnipiac. The numbers speak for themselves as the Bobcats roll into the WBIT with 28 overall wins and an 18-2 conference mark. Anna Foley rounded out the conference tournament, reaching double figures for the 23rd time this season. Gower V leads the team, averaging 18 points per game. Our final matchup, last two teams, the 2 seed belongs to Stanford. Lots of history in this Stanford program, who is under the direction of first-year head coach and alum Kate Payne. All-ACC selection Nanu Agara leads the way offensively, putting up 15 points per game and 7 rebounds per game. And the final team to hear their name, traveling to Stanford, is Portland. The Pilots clinched a share of the WCC regular season title with an overtime victory over Pacific. It is the first regular season title since the 1996-97 season. Portland's 28 wins are the most they've ever had in a single season as a D1 program, and the most they've ever had since the 1983-84 season.
So I'm interested in this quadrant to see Villanova Boston College. That's a very intriguing matchup. But also 18, 14, 16, 17 we're matching up. 2 power conference teams. I think Villanova has the edge. I think Boston College should swoop in and win. And Portland, Stanford. I think Stanford could be dangerous in this tournament as a 2 seed. A very dangerous team in this bracket. But I also think Portland, as being a really strong mid-major, I feel like Portland could, be like, just have some fight underneath them and really want to win. I think Stanford has one of those teams that has the potential to make it to the WBIT quarterfinals, semifinals, make a deep run in this tournament. I think Stanford could, especially, not making the NCAA tournament. I mean, it's under first-year coach, Richard Vanderbilt, so, they're not, I know, I figured, they might not make the NCAA, or they might, but not as a high seed. You know what I mean? So I understand that, but any of the top players maybe from Stanford leave, which I can understand, but Portland, having a really solid team. And Stanford, that's going to be very interesting. Can Quinnipiac defeat Seton Hall? I mean, they defeated top in the Metro Athletic Conference, Fairfield, but can they defeat a team like Seton Hall? I mean, I feel like they could, but that's going to be tough, though. But I think Stanford-Portland is really intriguing, and especially in the American East, where defenses are pretty solid in the American East. Can St. Joseph's good offense, it's going to be like a battle of offense versus defense. And sometimes in the night 10, they might not score a lot either. So St. Joseph's, I think, can handle UOB, but can UOB make it interesting?
Well, that will do it. The 32 teams will be competing in the 2025 WBIT. Again, a reminder, first round action tips off at host sites on March 20th, with the second round following on March 23rd, and the quarterfinals on March 27th. All of those games airing on ESPN+. The 4 teams will head to historic Hinkle Fieldhouse, where they will battle it out in the semifinal round on March 31st on ESPNU, and they will play the championship game on ESPN2. Thank you all for staying up late with us, and best of luck to all the student athletes and programs competing in this year's competition.
I teach the art of fanology, a job I take seriously. As to the question of nature versus nurture, is a fan born or is a fan made? I know this. Our game can make a fan out of anyone. That fandom we take it to a whole new level. The NCAA Championships. Attendance is encouraged. Passion is mandatory. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets. Class dismissed.
So I really think the most intriguing We can take a look at the brackets here.
The Silverado Trail Boss. And best-in-class highway fuel economy that's down for wherever. And a family that's down for...
Where's the bracket? So let's see here. Time is to be determined, but I think Wyoming, Texas Tech, that's gonna be very interesting. Florida, UNI, very interesting right there. UNLV is a good defensive team. Or Wyoming, Texas Tech, I think. Virginia Tech, NC&T. But Wyoming, Texas Tech. Wyoming is a solid team in the Mountain West. Really solid team. They beat UNLV. I don't remember if they played twice. But if they play in the quarters, they couldn't be in the quarterfinal. That'd be very interesting. Florida and UNI, Northern Iowa. It's a good major conference in the Missouri Valley. And they have a signature win against Iowa State. So can they beat Florida, which I think they could upset Florida. Hawaii's a solid team. They have the Big West is sometimes they're a good defensive team and they can rely on their defense. So if they don't score, they come back and score a lot of points in a hurry. So it's going to be very interesting. Colorado should be able to beat Southeastern, but Southeastern, could they make it competitive? Maybe. Gonzaga, UTSA. Gonzaga is a solid team in the Missouri Valley in West Conference, but they lost to Oregon State. So can UTSA? UTSA is a solid team in the American, which is another solid mid-major conference. So can UTSA win? No. Missouri State. I think they could handle Oral Roberts. But I also think Oral Roberts could make it interesting, though. Minnesota. I think Minnesota. The only thing I feel interested about this is Minnesota not being able to host because of the Williams Arena hosting some of the games of the quarterfinals and some semifinals and final. The 4 finals are hosting, and then hosting the 1A and 2A semis, and they're hosting maybe the 1A quarters probably there, and then probably maybe 2A at some of them are Retreat Pavilion. So that's part of it. But I think they could. That's gonna be interesting how Toledo hosting that changed things up. Now let's go to top break. James Madison. I think they can handle Davidson. Well, the other 10 is going to be major conference. I think they can handle James Madison. Drake Marquette. Ooh, that's gonna be interesting because I think Drake could win. But also, just because maybe they're home, they gives them the advantage. But I also think Marquette is a solid team, and they could upset Drake. Like either team could win that one. So that's gonna be solid matchup. Same with Belmont, Middle Tennessee. I think Middle Tennessee, people don't give Middle Tennessee credit, for who they are. Middle Tennessee is a good solid mid-major. Especially they've been year and year, especially the last few seasons. I've been following them just hardcore. They've been good mid-solid mid-major, consistent solid mid-major. So I think they have a good shot against Belmont. Northern Arizona. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Northern seems like one of those teams that could win and be competitive, but they did lose to Montana in the conference semis. So that's the only thing I have is, or can they bounce back after that? I don't know. St. Joseph's, I think they can handle Albany, but can Albany make it interesting? Albany. Can you make it interesting? We'll see. I think Villanova, Boston College. Villanova could make it to the round of the Boston College, but Boston College could be Villanova, so either team could win. Seton Hall, I think they can know Quinnipiac, but I think Quinnipiac could make it interesting. I think Seton Hall, just ultimately in the fourth, maybe might put open just a tad in the fourth. If to put a little separation in the fourth, not much, but just enough where like Quinnipiac can never. It's one of those things where Quinnipiac fights back and seems like they're gonna fight back, but they can't. They just don't ultimately end up fighting back, just because they're not. Because Seton Hall, they might trade punches late, trade shots, and trade baskets late. Stanford, I think Stanford being a home in their 2 seed, there could be a really dangerous 2 seed in the WBIT. I think they might have been a 1F. Like the first 4 out didn't have to be number 1 seeds. So they're a solid team. But Portland, I think Portland has a really solid shot. They're a good top mid-major, one of the best mid-majors in the country. And I feel like Portland could definitely upset Stanford. I don't know how far Stanford could go in the NCAAs. Or in the WBIT, I should say. Well, it is the NCAA for them. NCAA affiliate WBIT. I think they could go far. But we'll see, who knows. And I'll lose some whip around of the WBIT games in the first round. And the quarterfinals for sure. I'm not sure on the 23rd on that Sunday, but I should be able to do some whip around. Hopefully, potentially, or maybe we'll see. But for sure and then if there's WNIT whip around as well, I'll do some. But on the 20th, there's also WNIT games going on, so I'll be able to do if there's some WNITs mixed around I can do. Some of them are not all on ESPN Plus, like the WBIT is exclusively, like the NIT. They kind of, since they host the men's NIT second tier tournament, the ESPN Plus, all the games, ESPN Plus is all games for the second tier. The third tier is on Flow Sports, and some on ESPN, most are on ESPN Plus. They're on like the NC, all the conferences ESPN affiliates with, but other than the Mountain West, will be on the Mountain West Network. The Big East teams host will be on Flow Sports. Big Ten game schools host will be on Big Ten Network. BTN Plus. Coastal Athletic Association will be on Flow Sports. But the majority of the conferences, some might be an SC Network Plus, AC Network Plus for AC teams or SC teams. But I think, like they did with NBIT, they put them on ESPN Plus, and they used to put them on AC or SC Network Plus, where the ACSC teams hosted. So I think they'll do that, but still, majority of them should be able to see it. Maybe just a couple of them you won't be able to see, but most of them you can see in ESPN Plus, so I'll be able to show you them. But the bracket is on, it's going to be announced tomorrow on Monday, the 17th, so I'll let you know about the bracket, how that shapes up when it gets released. And I don't know if it raised right away, but when it does, we'll do some whip around on that and let you know my thoughts on the bracket.